So I'm going to go through the step-by-step process of moving to Australia from the UK as a GP. I'm Nura, I'm a GP working in North Wales. Don't forget to like and subscribe. First step is research the area in Australia and decide where would you like to move to. Australia is very big, and once you've decided, it's much easier to look for the jobs. It depends on your situation or preference, whether you're single or whether you're family. Brisbane is more suited for the family. Sydney has very high cost of living. Perth and Adelaide, less cost of living compared to Sydney. However, it can be a bit far. So the next step is verifying your degree. This will be your primary medical school degree and also the RACGP certificate. It involves 2 online applications. Register with the ECMG, which is the Education Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates. Second is registration to the Australian Medical Council. It involves registering for your EPIC account, verifying the identity via the notary cam online, and then once verified, we can upload the primary medical school degree and RACGP certificate to be verified, and which will then be forwarded to the AMC. The next stage is doing the comparability assessment with the RACGP. It's just going to assess whether UK training program as a GP is comparable to the Australian GP training. There's 3 outcomes, whether one is not comparable, second is partially comparable, and third is substantially comparable, which is what we want, which means that you will need to do 6 months of fellowship in Australia to complete to get the full registration. To do this PEP or practice experience program, so there's 3 parts: part A, part B, part C. So we start with part A. This is the longest one. First, you need to sign up with a RACGP to get a free account. You will get a RACGP number, then you can start the process online. This can take up to 4 weeks. It involves detailing hours work. You will need to get letters from your previous employer from the previous 4 years. You will also need to get letter support from RACGP itself. So it's much better to remain a member of RACGP during this period. They will calculate the number of hours, which they call recency, so that we need to meet their recency criteria. What it means is for full-time, 12 months of full-time equivalent of a GP in a 48 calendar months, or at least 4 weeks of full-time equivalent of a GP in the 12 calendar months. I also had to do CPD of 50 hours in total, and I have to do a 10 detailed clinical case analysis. However, both of this has been removed since 22nd of November, so you're in luck, so you don't have to do this because it took quite a lot of time. Then we paid for the comparability assessment online, then we are able to submit, and then this will take about 8 to 10 weeks. Once you have receive your results, that is application for RACGP Part B, which is the job offer approval. So this is to have the job offer review to support application for the AHPRA. You can start the previous stage. However, up to this stage, then you will need the job offer to continue with the process. The employer will submit a letter of recommendation. Then we complete the rest of the application online, and this takes about 2 weeks. Once it's been approved, then we can start with our AHPRA registration. You can't apply to AHPRA without the job offer and supervision documentation from the employers. If you're non-native or you haven't done a secondary school in the recognized English-speaking countries, then unfortunately you need to do English tests. I need to do English tests. This AHPRA process registration will take another 8 to 10 weeks. We will need to complete the in-person ID check with AHPRA in Australia. After that, about 1 week, then we will granted the full AHPRA registration. The next stage is visa application. You will go on the 482 visa, which is the temporary work visa, which you will receive while you're in the UK. This is an employer-sponsored visa for up to 4 years, and it is renewable. The employer will lodge a visa nomination for us and also our family. The visa application can be started but can only be submitted once the AHPRA in principle received. This visa approval takes about 2 to 4 weeks. Finally, we will complete the RACGP Part C, which is the right to work and Medicare for the purpose of provider number. Only after we have the provider number, then we're able to work in Australia. This can take about 10 to 12 weeks. The actual start time will depend on when we travel to Australia, because we can't proceed until we have been to Australia in person. So we will continue with the 6 months fellowship if we're substantially comparable. After that, once you've completed and passed all the work-based assessments again, you can apply for the AHPRA specialist registration, and at this time you can also apply for PR as well. GPs who are overseas trained need to complete moratorium 10 years, means that they have to work in a DPA location. Now DPA location is location that's not in city center, so the paperwork in total takes about usually 10 to 12 months. So better to get started if you're interested to move to Australia. You can also go direct to the GP itself, find your job yourself, or you go through via agency. If you go through via the agency, they will help you go through this process. My journey was I opened the EPIC account in July, got my medical degree certificate verified. It took about 1 week to verify. End of July, I opened the RACGP account and started my RACGP PEP Part A. In August, I talked to a few agencies and I decided to go with one of them, which is Head Medical. They asked which areas of Australia that I'm interested in, and they forwarded me jobs available in the area, and then they helped to arrange the interviews online, done via Zoom, WhatsApp. If it's a big company, that I spoke to the representative, like manager. I did speak to a few of the business owners as well. 8th of August, I signed contracts, so I accepted one offer. In September, I sent my MRCGP certificate verified, and that took about a week. I continued with my RACGP PEP Part A process. Finally submit my application on the 30th of September. 6th of October, I received a few feedbacks to revise a few things and resubmitted on the 13th of October. I finally received my results on the 27th of November, so roughly it took about 6 weeks. Currently, I'm in the process of RACGP PEP Part B. My agent sent a request for the employer to send a supporting letter, and then it's been accepted, and then I'll complete some things online and then we will submit. And I'm also in the process of doing the English test for AHPRA, so I'm doing the PET test. There you have it, the step-by-step steps of moving to Australia as a GP from the UK. If you would like to know more about it or you have any question, then please comment down below. I will upload next video about the costs associated, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow my journey of moving to Australia. Bye!